Hello Summoners, this is Dan, and welcome to our in-depth analysis of Tarzan's mastery over Olaf. Griffin's jungler is widely considered one of the best in Korea, and that praise is well-deserved. Besides currently being in one of the top LCK teams, Tarzan also packs an immense amount of game knowledge, utilizing many mind-blowing tricks, some of which you guys will see today. But before we get started, make sure that you go to ProGuides.com if you want to see huge improvements to your rank right now. With their Pro Pass, you get exclusive Pro courses, and ProGuides has a feature called InstaPro, which provides instant 24/7 on-demand coaching from the best of the best. Over 100,000 gamers have used InstaPro today and ranked up significantly, so don't miss out on this opportunity and rank up now using the link below. With that all said, let's first briefly go over some of Olaf's abilities, which will prove crucial in the match that you're about to watch. We'll start off with his passive, Berserker's Rage. Berserker's Rage increases Olaf's attack speed by 1% for each 1% of his missing health. Basically, the lower HP he has, the faster he attacks. The passive goes hand in hand with his W, Vicious Strikes, where for 6 seconds, he gains bonus attack speed and lifesteal, as well as enhanced healing from all sources. Most of the time, the only source of healing will be his own lifesteal, but if paired with a healing support, this ability becomes even more powerful. In addition, Tarzan leveled this very ability on level 1, which will prove incredibly handy later in the video. Now, off to the runes Tarzan chose. Conqueror, Triumph, Legend, Alacrity, Last Stand from Precision, Magical Footwear, and Approach Velocity from Inspiration, along with Double Adaptive Force and HP Shards. Based on the rundown of Olaf's passive and W, why do you think Conqueror was the keystone of choice this time? Conqueror is the best option here because Olaf's attack speed steroids help stack the keystone incredibly fast, and the added true damage gives him even more healing with W. Triumph was chosen to provide sheer survivability, since oftentimes Olaf will go headfirst into fights and get bursted down pretty easily, giving more Triumph value, and increased healing from W will also buff up the rune. Alacrity is just more attack speed, and Last Stand synergizes with the passive once again, since it also allows him to do more champion damage the lower percentage of health he has. And both Inspiration runes are there purely to help him be faster. Magical Footwear gives him better boots, and Approach Velocity provides him with 15% movement speed towards impaired enemy champions, which goes well together with his Q, Undertow, where he throws an axe and slows a champion hit by it. Lastly, one important thing to note is that he chose the HP Shard instead of the armor one that most junglers take. The reason for this is that he doesn't want to be tanky against jungle camps so they can lower his health and activate his passive, but he does want to have a higher HP number so that he has more overall health on those low percentages. This concludes our pre-game analysis, so now let's get into the gameplay. Tarzan's opponent is Rek'Sai, another very strong dueler. However, since Rek'Sai chose Hail of Blades instead of Conqueror, Olaf will be able to win 1v1s in the early game with ease. Why do you think that will happen? Because all that Rek'Sai's Hail of Blades will be able to do is to burst half of Olaf's HP. And as we now know, that is perfect for Olaf because his passive, W, and the Last Stand rune all benefit heavily from his lower HP bar. Now, what Olaf does around the 55-second mark is place this ward in the top river, recalling immediately afterwards and picking up a sweeping lens. This is to spot the enemy jungler's pathing in the first few minutes of the game, and the red trinket will allow him to clear early vision in preparation for ganks without having to rely on control wards. After he comes back for his own blue, Tarzan tells his bot lane not to leash his buff, giving them early lane priority. You may be thinking that this will in turn make him lag behind Rek'Sai's clear speed. Well, we did say that this is Olaf being used to his highest potential, and what you're about to see may blow your mind. First thing Olaf does is pull the buff closer to the Gromp. Next, he smites the Gromp, not the buff. This is to aggro it even closer because he doesn't have the range necessary. You may have noticed that he still did not activate W. On rank 1, it's a pretty long cooldown, so he only wants to use it when he's just about to die, at around 20% HP. He even makes a very quick step away to avoid one Gromp attack, while still keeping both Blue and Gromp aggroed. And in that time, Rek'Sai, who got a hefty leash by the way, is still doing Krugs while Olaf already begins work on Wolves. Now that is some high-level play. Remember the ward Tarzan placed at the start of the game? If Rek'Sai ever did cross that ward, Tarzan would have changed his game plan and probably begin splitting the map by going and taking Rek'Sai's Raptors. That did not happen, so he continues doing a full clear. The way he continues is especially important to note. With all 3 camps in his top jungle, he pulls them to the right, away from their initial positions. Why do you think he did this? Because that first ward he placed already ran out, and there are no other wards in that part of the map, so he's unsure of Rek'Sai's position. Therefore, because of his potential to get counter-jungled by her, he plays it safe by aggroing all the camps to be as far away from possible entry points of Rek'Sai. After that, he goes to secure the topside Scuttle Crab. Let us back up a few seconds to see just why he was so confident in going for it. First off, enemy Corki just got killed in mid and lost his flash, while Olaf's Camille has priority on top. Because of this, Olaf knows he's safe to face check, which he does, scaring the Rek'Sai with a Scryer's Bloom, and she doesn't end up contesting the scuttle at all. Moving to the mid lane, he manages to squeeze through enemy minions without being spotted since he made this quick turn. He spots Corki on a ward, who, by the way, has no idea that Olaf is there, and tries to execute him but misses the axe. It still costs Corki his W, which will leave some pressure off of Fizz. Tarzan then moves off to finish the bot side scuttle, still being defensive since he doesn't know Rek'Sai's position, and finally recalls to do another full clear. This was a lot of pro moves to cover, so let's summarize these first 4.5 minutes of Tarzan's game. 1. He puts a ward on the top river to scout the enemy jungler's pathing, recalling immediately to grab the red trinket. 2. Expertly juggles Gromp and blue buff on his own by utilizing Olaf's strengths, giving his bot lane early priority and simultaneously out-jungling Rek'Sai. 3. Clears the top jungle carefully to minimize the risk of getting counter-jungled. 4. Confidently grabs the scuttle due to his lanes having priority. 5. Surprises the enemy mid laner by making his way to the lane without being noticed. 6. Finishes the other scuttle, preparing for the reset. At about 6:30, after finishing another full clear, Tarzan has no camps or gank opportunities available, so he simply places a control ward in the river brush and waits out the scuttle, grabbing it just before the enemies appear in the river. Had Rek'Sai ganked Fizz in mid lane while Olaf was waiting, he would have simply moved there and cleaned up the kills Fizz would have set up for him. Instead, what happens is that the blue team gets collapsed on and red emerges victorious simply because Fizz is much stronger than Corki, thanks to the 2 kills he picked up. Olaf's team, even though they won the fight, is left with low HP bars and is unable to start up Infernal, so they simply recall. Olaf himself does not wait for the fountain to regen his health because it's much easier to already be at half HP to activate his synergies than to have to take damage first. He proceeds to do more camps, apply some pressure onto Akali, and noticing Rek'Sai do dragon and gank bot, he sees an opportunity to steal the entire top jungle from Rek'Sai. After more farming and another reset, he gets one gank on Corki, killing him with Fizz's help, and casually runs down bot to obliterate the enemy team in a 3v3. Take a look at the map and try to guess why these 2 ganks were so successful, aside from Tarzan being an amazing player, of course. Because of excellent ward placement from his team, as well as some ward clearing from himself. You'll notice him sweeping the entire top edge of mid lane before finally ganking. And you also see 3 control wards in the bottom river through which he ganked Ezreal, Rek'Sai, and Tahm Kench. At 13:30, Olaf's team is preparing to do the dragon, but they don't start it immediately because Camille is not there yet. Fizz hasn't pushed out mid, and no vision has been cleared. Once the team rendezvous, they begin looking for an aggressive trade, finding Tahm Kench, hard-winning the wonderfully set up fight, and easily securing dragon immediately after. About a minute later, Camille finds an overextended Rek'Sai near the Rift Herald, and with Thresh and Olaf's help, they burn her flash and deter her from the Herald. Olaf then sees an opportunity and engages on Tahm Kench and Rek'Sai with Thresh behind him. Sadly, Thresh fails to save him, but the rest of the team picks up 3 kills versus only Olaf's death on the red side, making it a very good trade for them. Since the blue team died earlier, they get back on the map quicker and gain tempo, aka a small window of opportunity to ward the enemy jungle. Tarzan, knowing this, hides with Thresh in a brush and waits. Sadly for them, they get spotted by a Rek'Sai Q, but if someone like Tahm Kench walked up to ward, they would get instantly bursted down by the Olaf Thresh setup. Finally, at 19:20, just before it despawns at 20 minutes, they rotate to pick up the Herald, completely uncontested because they had both top and mid pushing, as well as Camille with teleport. At this point, the red team is incredibly strong, but Corki doesn't seem to get it and he ends up dying deep in red team's jungle. Olaf and the gang manage to pick up 2 more kills and get the Baron shortly afterwards, then rotate for the Drake. Notice that this is only 22 minutes in the game. They begin pushing mid with Rift Herald and kill a few more enemies, but Corki's wave clear is still relevant and they cannot break open the base itself, so they back off. In team fights like the one that follows, Olaf has 2 options. What are they? One option is to peel for his carry, and another is to run in and assassinate people. Here he chooses the latter since his Jinx wasn't the top damage dealer, and he's also built a Steric's Gauge, which gives him more survivability while also helping him stay low enough to get value from his passive W and Last Stand. With Tarzan's understanding of Olaf and pushing him to the limits, he was able to clear the jungle efficiently, while utilizing his teammates' priorities to find calculated opportunities and eventually lead his team to victory. Alright, let's recap some of the key moments and test your knowledge again. 1. Why is Conqueror an ideal choice for Olaf? Because Olaf's attack speed steroids help stack the keystone incredibly fast, and the added true damage gives him even more healing with W. 2. Why will Olaf be able to win 1v1s against a Hail of Blades Rek'Sai? Because all that Rek'Sai's Hail of Blades will be able to do is to burst half of Olaf's HP. And as we now know, that is perfect for Olaf because his passive W and the Last Stand rune all benefit heavily from his lower HP bar. 3. Why does Tarzan pull his camps on the first top clear? Because that first ward he placed already ran out and there are no other wards in that part of the map, so he's unsure of Rek'Sai's position. Therefore, because of his potential to get counter-jungled by her, he plays it safe by aggroing all the camps to be as far away from possible entry points of Rek'Sai. 4. Why was he able to rapidly gank both mid and bot successfully, getting 4 kills in total? Because of excellent ward placement from his team, as well as some ward clearing from himself. You'll notice him sweeping the entire top edge of mid lane before finally ganking, and you'll also see 3 control wards in the bottom river through which he ganked Ezreal, Rek'Sai, and Tahm Kench. 5. Which 2 options does Olaf typically have in teamfights? One option is to peel for his carry, and another is to run in and assassinate people. And here's everything in one place so you can screenshot it and use it as a reminder in your next Olaf game. Alright guys, congrats on sticking all the way through to the end of our in-depth analysis of Tarzan's Olaf play. Thanks so much for watching, and once again, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel or visit ProGuides.com for more on high-level League of Legends. On ProGuides.com, we partner with pro players to create courses designed to help you take your game to the next level, so don't miss out on that. And if you want to follow me on all social media channels, you can find me at @DanielAmmerman. Good luck out there on the Rift, and we'll see you guys next time.